It was November 1960. Alhausen, southern Germany. Forensic. Terror in the occupied territories. 1942. The forests of Belarus. The Dirlewanger Brigade began its anti-partisan operations in the occupied Soviet territories. Operational SS reports found in German archives after the war reveal not military actions, but systematic massacres of civilians. A directive signed by Dirlewanger in March 1942 ordered every village suspected of harboring partisans must be completely destroyed. All inhabitants must be treated as enemy combatants. In practice, that meant the extermination of entire. In the face of this violence, questions remain. Why did the massacre continue even despite internal protests? How did German soldiers react when they witnessed those actions? And finally, what was the fate of Oskar Dirlewanger when the war came to an end? The downfall and mysterious death. April 1945. The Third Reich was crumbling. The Soviet army was encircling Berlin, while American and British forces advanced from the west, breaking through the last German defenses. The Dirlewanger Brigade, reduced to a shadow of what it had been, was in total disintegration after months of brutal fighting. Military records indicate that Dirlewanger was wounded in early 1945 when a Soviet grenade exploded near him during defensive operations. In Slovakia, the shrapnel took him out of combat and led to his evacuation. From then on, he remained away from the front line, debilitated and physically unstable. In June 1945, weeks after the German surrender, Dirlewanger was captured by French forces near Althausen in southern Germany. Documents record that he tried to hide his identity by using a false. The legacy of a monster. The story of Oskar Dirlewanger remains one of the darkest chapters of Nazi crimes. While many war criminals hid behind ideology or obedience to superior orders, Dirlewanger seemed driven by pure sadism. Historians estimate that the Dirlewanger Brigade was responsible for the deaths of at least 30,000 civilians in documented operations, a number that is probably higher. In Warsaw, his actions during the Wallem massacre rank among the most brutal war crimes of the Second World War. What makes his case particularly disturbing is that even other Nazis recognized his monstrousness.
Where are the partisans?
Wehrmacht
Tell
and
me
even
now.
SS reports
I don't know.
expressed shock at
Please.
his methods.
Lies.
Yet the
No's.
regime
You will
continued
talk.
to employ
No.
them, revealing
I
how
swear.
totalitarian
Again.
systems normalize the unacceptable when it serves their purposes. The central question remains: how did a convicted criminal, despised even by his peers, receive military authority to commit atrocities on a massive scale? The answer exposes something essential about the Third Reich, a system that not only committed evil but deliberately armed the worst elements of society and unleashed them against the defenseless. The historian Timothy Snyder argues that units like the Dirlewanger Brigade represent the final collapse of any moral or legal boundary, created to carry out tasks that even ideologically shaped soldiers hesitated to perform. Dirlewanger's end, beaten to death by Polish survivors, raises ethical dilemmas about justice and revenge. Should he have been formally tried, or does his death represent a crude yet understandable form of justice? The 1960 exhumation closed the case on a legal level, but his legacy persists as the memory of destroyed communities and as a warning of how far humanity can fall when cruelty is institutionalized. The Dirlewanger Brigade was not an isolated aberration, but an extreme and logical expression of the central principles of Nazism: dehumanization, glorification of violence, and the belief that certain human groups were disposable. If this story has made you reflect on how totalitarian regimes not only permit, but actively cultivate human monsters, share it so that we never forget. The story of Oskar Dirlewanger is not just about one criminal. It is a warning about what happens when societies legitimize violence and reward cruelty. What does he symbolize? The human capacity for absolute evil, when freed from moral and legal restraints, remains relevant in any era. His anonymous grave may be hidden, but his lessons must remain visible so that such horrors never repeat. If you enjoyed this story, write in the comments the phrase, "I want more stories." It's quick, and that way you help our video reach more people, and you might even get pinned in the comments as a sign of your presence. Oh, and don't forget to show your support by clicking the like button and subscribing right below. That helps us know we are on the right track. Now, check out the video that's appearing on your screen as a recommendation. See you next time.